I watched this last night. XQC said something about how, you know, a lot of those charity streams that you watch, or a lot of those charity streams that you see, are actually paid for, where the streamer gets paid for it. I did not know this, of course, because no one ever invites me to anything, and also I never get paid for anything. So obviously, so that was the original. So that was like the original, you know, controversy or whatever. And then Dr. Lupo came out because people were like firing shots at Dr. Lupo, who said from an r slash live stream fail post. This is as far as I saw when I was working out. Dr. Lupo came out and said from an r slash live stream fail post on Reddit regarding XQC stating that majority of streamers get paid through charity streams. I've never been paid to raise money for St. Jude. Just wanted to make sure that was clear. I believe him. I've talked about how I like Dr. Lupo, even though most people were saying like, damn, kind of doesn't make Lupo seem as wholesome. It seems like he has charity streams for St. Jude's all the time. Hope this isn't the case for him. I'm not mad if Lupo's getting paid. Just say you are. I thought he was doing a lot of streams because he has some sort of tie with St. Jude's. Like I said, hope this isn't the case for him. So he hasn't been getting paid for it. That makes sense. I think that I guess like Nim contributed to the conversation as well and said, yeah, I have gotten paid for a charity stream. I disclose it, and then I turn around and I take the money that I got from the charity and like put it back into the charity. It's understandable why charities would pay streamers. It's like double booking. So you give like a marketing. You're basically fundraising and also paying off the marketing at the same time when a Twitch streamer does it. So I don't really have a problem with that at all, if we're being honest. I think a lot of charities actually spend their money unwisely, and I think that everyone who gets paid by the charity should absolutely disclose it. Yeah, it's like renting a venue for a fundraiser. Like, totally makes sense. It's like, it's a very unique ability that streamers have to be able to pay for, it's a unique ability that streamers have to be able to fundraise and also market the charity at the same time. Jessica Blevins is Ninja's wife slash manager. Okay. She inserts herself into the conversation, says, this guy always has some trash to say. Face with rolling eyes. I've literally never heard of a single streamer getting paid to raise money, and per FTC rules, if they were, it would have to be easily known to the public. Keep doing amazing things. I think she comes in here and wants to show support to Dr. Lupo because she feels like you know, Dr. Lupo is being attacked unfairly by XQC. And then Felix comes in and writes this, I guess. Okay. This is fucking rich coming from you of all people. Incredible you found the time to half-ass listen to the clip and give your take no one asked about in between your virtue signaling posts. Okay. Jessica Blevins says, oh, I was waiting for your response. Enjoy your day, QVC. Hope to see you doing a fundraiser in the future since you have so much to say about them. Purple heart. Stealing valor. Of course I was going to answer, sweetie. I was eating breakfast, fueling up for a productive day. Not very relatable, I know. You should teach me a thing or two about fundraisers. I'm sure you know a thing or two about raising funds. I mean, these Gucci bags don't pay for themselves. And then Ninja comes in and says, you have zero clue the amount of work Jess does for our family and our business. And when she wants to buy a Gucci bag, she fucking can because she worked for it. We have donated millions to charity and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. Stop being a piece of shit. X, it's very clear you don't respect women or really anyone with, again, the trash I've heard you spew. If you want to be sexist and act like because I'm married to a successful man that it makes me a do-nothing mooching woman, that's your choice to be that kind of person. The lack of self-awareness is insane, Jessica. Your husband is an icon of our sphere. Does that sink in? It has nothing to do with you being a woman. How dare you sexism card in such a trivial interaction, lumping in actual victims of sexism, especially in gaming. Yikes. Ninja says, dude, you need to stop. In your own words, you literally said she does nothing all day, called her sweetie when she is in fact not your sweetie. Face with tears of joy. Not to mention she has tried to reach privately to talk about this, yet you continue to tweet in all caps. Okay. you guys know I love Felix. I think he's great, and I talk about him and defend him all the fucking time. I reached out to him privately, not about this, and I think he's doing a great job educating little Zoomers on how to navigate through like interpersonal conflicts or relationships, especially as it pertains to sexual assault and consent. I think he's done a great job, but this is terrible. Like, there is no way. XQC fans are gonna get mad at me, but it is terrible. Like, you can't imply that she's like mooching off Ninja when you don't know the situation behind the scenes. Like, you know how much she's fucking worked. I don't either. But it's absolutely going back to like the same kinds of narratives that like women that are married to successful people are like leeching off them and they don't like do anything. It is very sexist.
Yeah, but I mean, like, obviously XQC took it to like a pretty high level, right? With like saying like she's like basically a leech off of her husband and she doesn't do anything except for like buy Gucci bags. I mean, that's pretty extreme. Like, let's be real. That is pretty extreme. And so she is. Well, how do you know that she is? How do you know that she doesn't do work for the family and do what Ninja says? How do you know? You don't know. You just saying that because the person that you like is saying the thing, and so you're agreeing with the person that you like, right? There's no real objective knowledge here. I know every single time I see Ninja out anywhere, he's with his wife, and so like she's with him with all these different events and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I think the person, I've always believed this, right? The person who initiates a conflict is more wrong than the person who defends themselves and responds to a conflict. So, like, XQC is just sitting here doing whatever he wants. He's just hanging out, doing whatever the fuck. And then she just comes out of fucking nowhere and starts talking shit about him. So it's like, no, man. You don't do that. This calls for XQC Puts to Death versus Ninja, J Ghosty, 2v2, Blackout 3. Nobody plays that game. Oh, this is an easy bet. Team Ninja loses easy. Don't you have another cat to abuse? You have no class. It's only a playful joke. And you have to be rude like this? Pretty shameful, dude. See, here's the thing, is Alinity is gonna... You can always get likes for shitting on Alinity. All right. Here's the reality. Alinity had the fucking animal control investigate her, and they said she didn't abuse the cats. Okay. So I don't really know what else you're gonna say. Like that is I don't know. Like, yeah, I know this is like a simp thing to say, right? But I would trust. Here's the thing. Would I rather trust Redditors? Or an organization that did a formal in-person investigation? Redditors or the formal in-personal investigation?
Yeah, we never really took a deal because most of them were like really sketchy. But what I learned today, and Rania posted a bit about it on Twitter, is apparently people who do sponsored streams for charity don't have to disclose it because it falls under management fees for charities, which is like fucking crazy to me. I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Nice work out there. Keep up the pressure.
I knew there were sponsored charities, and I've seen a few people do like hashtag ad when they do a charity, but apparently they don't have to. So apparently a lot of people have been doing sponsored charities without disclosing it, and it's not illegal because of how management fees work in charities, which again is fucking crazy to me.
So how do you know what charity streams are legit? So the ones that I got offered, yo, they paid me. No, listen, let's just say this: they offered me pretty reasonable amount of money, you know. Reasonable amount. It was not bad, right? They offered me like 3K to do like I think a 6-hour charity stream. 3K is not bad, okay? But I refused it. I spoke with Miskif about it, and I was like, yo, that's not bad, but how is this legit? Miskiff luckily said, you know, chill out. Don't do that shit. That's scummy. So I was like, yeah, you are right on that.
Oh, wait, when is?
You know, they're probably Ninja and his wife are probably like at the kitchen countertop, like sitting there, whatever. It's breakfast, noon, lunch, whatever the fuck. Right, they're eating there. She gives her dumb take on Twitter. XC fires back, and he's like, oh, honey, look what this streamer said about me. Can you believe what he said? Are you gonna do anything about it? Are you gonna say anything? You think this is right? You think this is fucking right? And then Ninja just doesn't want to hear her bitching. So, you know, he's like, okay. I'll deal with it. I'll write something up. Okay. I love you, honey. Come on, okay.
XQC said that most charity streams are sponsored. I don't know about most charity streams, but I know that for sure people are getting sponsored to do charity streams and they're not disclosing it, probably, a lot of the times, because it's charity. I've been approached by being paid to do charity thing, but I declined because first of all it's kind of weird. I feel like getting paid for it, but it's not really weird because you go outside, you see these billboards, right? Like, oh, save the kids, right? Donate here or whatever, right? They're paying for that. It's not the city paying for that, it's the actual charities that are paying for that advertisement. And this is just another form of advertisement. It's a more, you know, new meta, because people are sitting so close to donate button, right, when you're at home. But if you go on the city or wherever and you see this ad for donating to the children in this country, whatever, then you're just like, oh yeah, maybe later when I'm home or whatever, and you forget about it, and it's not very effective, but they still pay for it. But yeah, they definitely, people are definitely being paid for. I don't really follow which streamers are doing charity streams and whatnot, but I know that I personally has gotten offered to do.
Careful, Jessica. I'm not. Oh no, I'm not disrespecting her by all means. This is what Ninja does at home, okay? Mrs. Belfin wears the pants, cause this has happened on too many occasions where she's come out of nowhere and started some shit. So Mrs. Belvin wears a pants. Ninja be on his $1 million couch like this, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, oh, Fortnite, yeah, you know, let me transfer some millions from here to there, millions from here to there. And then he'd be like looking at her, he'd be looking at her, he'd be like, I can't believe XGC. And he's just like quiet. He's just like, and he's focusing on, you know what I'm saying, transferring millions and shit. She's like, I'm about to go tweet at him. And it's just like, if that's what you want to do. And that's all he doesn't, bro, he doesn't stop the situation. He just like, babe, think about this. Bro, she just says, I'm about to tweet this motherfucker. And he's like, all right, bet. All right, babe, I support you 100%. Bro, Ninja's the type of guy to let his female do all the talking. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? If that's the type of relationship you got, that's the type of relationship you got, okay? But sometimes, bro, you gotta tell your female, hey, babe, if you ain't got shit good to say, you know what I'm saying, shut the fuck up. Like, respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Hey, babe, you know, I love you, you know what I'm saying? If you don't got nothing good to say, hey, shut the fuck up, okay?
You're all fucking stupid. This drama is extremely stupid and dumb, and you're all fucking losers. Oh my god, I hate that there's drama around charity right now. You're gonna have people doing charity streams, and they're gonna receive fucking hate, being called sellouts. This is great.
100% they do. But at the end of the day, there's no denying, like, straight up. I mean, even if, at the end of the day, the charity organization is going to benefit more from if you give someone who is a prominent figure money. It's like investing in that person. You give him like X amount of money and you make the charity organization way more just from the recognition. Sure. TLDR, like, I feel like every big streamer, they do it out of their own. And when I say big streamer, I'm talking about like Lupo and Co, because they really do push for charity. Those are like 100% pure intention charities. when they run them. But I honestly understand the doubt. I mean, you guys are very cynical. You guys see the worst in things all the time, so it is the fucking internet.
Again, the idea there being that obviously, like, if I do a charity stream, I'll raise so much money, right, for a charitable good. But if I pay to get Kanye West to appear at a concert and then raise charity funds and it relevant to that, then I may raise a fuck ton more money. As long as I can do the metrics here in the outlook, if I can raise more money than I would have without Kanye West, hypothetically here, then I can compensate Kanye for his appearance fee, because otherwise I wouldn't get him here, because everyone's services are worth something in a time of regard here. And it could be a win-win for everyone involved. Appearance fee paid, more money raised for the charity. And then also, as charity organizers, you gotta your time is worth something too. You can't operate off of like goodwill to like pay your own bills and shit. So yeah, expenses, investing in a charity event does cost money. The facade that, you know, all charities exist in a vacuum of complete goodwill and there's never an expense to be paid or anyone doesn't get paid at all here is kind of unforeseen. And just again, you're not aware of how that kind of thing.
Dude, who the f is you, 12-year-old bitch? The f
You say to me, you little shit!
Holy f
How are you not in school? You kiss your mother with that mouth?
Oh, it was actually good.
and like
And
4
new.
colors and like, yeah.
Totally. All of that in a box. Then he's like, let's go for a ride. So he give me this pretty cool bison. Was it a
Trump's proposal, he set a cutoff date for federal funding of testing sites in several states and actually went to court to take away health care for 22 million people by trying to get rid of Obamacare. And now, Donald Trump is in retreat. Remember, back in March, when I called, and he called, we talked about the need to act like we were at war with the virus. He called himself a wartime president. Remember when he exhorted the nation to sacrifice together and, quote, in the face of this inevitable and invisible enemy. What happened? Now it's almost July, and it seems like our wartime president has surrendered, waved the white flag, and left the battlefield. Today we're facing a serious threat, and we have to meet it. We have to meet it as one country. But the president gives no direction, and he pits us against one another. We can't continue like this, half recovering and half getting worse. We can't continue half wearing masks and half rejecting science. We can't continue half with a plan and half just hoping for the best. You know, we won't defeat this virus with a piecemeal approach, lifting restrictions prematurely, increasing the volatility of the crisis, raising the likelihood of needing to reimpose restrictions. You know, until our science catches up to reality, until we have better treatment for those who become infected and ultimately are safe, proven, widely available vaccines, we have to continue to do all we can as the people and the government to keep our fellow Americans safe and healthy. Today, I'm releasing a plan with the steps I believe Donald Trump should undertake immediately to build on the roadmap I released back in March that would have saved lives if it had been adopted. It's a plan to save lives in the months ahead. But once again, I encourage him to adopt this plan in its entirety. This is too important for politics. First, testing, testing, testing. More testing is not only how you find more cases of coronavirus, Mr. President. It's how you stop the coronavirus cases. Testing followed by rigorous contact tracing, quarantine, and isolation protocols for those who've been exposed. People aren't waiting in lines for miles and miles
Good day, Survivor.
in
Here's what I
baking
got.
hot cars for drive-through nasal swabs for the fun of it.
Cheers, Survivor.
They're doing it so they can protect themselves, but even more importantly, they know when they have this mask on, they're protecting others. They're protecting others. We know we're not where we need to be in testing. There are still hospitals and nursing homes that don't have access to the tests they need. Testing is how we see what's happening in communities all across the country. It's our eyes on the ground. Without that testing, we're flying blind. That's why it's so important to have reliable access to testing everywhere. We need increased federal support for testing. That includes doubling the number of drive-through testing sites.
Welcome to the
And
next
keep
morning
increasing them until there are no more lines.
Cheers,
We should
Survivor.
create a pandemic testing board to spearhead a nationwide campaign so every worker who's called back to their job can have the confidence that they and their fellow workers are not infected. You know, experts agree that we need more contact tracing to track the path of this virus. Individual states like New York and California are already hiring and training thousands of tracers. But we need to do more, including hiring at least 100,000 federally funded workers to perform contact tracing and other public health tasks. And they should begin to be trained now. Second, every single frontline worker should have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe. 5 months into this crisis, and our healthcare workers still are forced to scramble for their own supplies and have to reuse these masks shift after shift, Hundreds of healthcare workers have died from COVID-19, and tens of thousands have become infected. It should be 0 on both counts for these healthcare workers if they have the right equipment. You know, how are we this many months into this and still don't have what we need? That's why we have a Defense Production Act. You know, Mr. President, use your authority, Mr. President. Use it this week. Scale up the production of N95 masks. You know, the steps you've taken so far haven't gotten the job done, Mr. President. Fix the shortage of PPE for our healthcare workers before you tee off another round of galls. We can't just look at where we are today. We're going to need these masks and gloves and face shields for the foreseeable future. And we need to be ready. We know more is coming. Thirdly, we should be laser focused on treatments and vaccines. We should be leading a coordinated global approach on the science, not disregarding experts while pushing dangerous and disproved drugs as if they're treatments. There's been some progress toward treatment and vaccines, but the administration hasn't been transparent about how they plan to manufacture enough doses to make sure there's equitable distribution to scale. I hope they're doing it now. I called for a while ago. They should be providing $250 million to have a plan now exactly how they're going to distribute this so every American has access when and if the vaccine's available. They may be doing it, but we have no transparency. Let us see, Mr. President. The White House should report weekly on this progress. We can't end up in the same scratchy and distribution problems that we had in testing. We need to make sure the customers aren't being gouged by new drug and therapies and prices when they're developed. We have to immediately restore our relationship with the World Health Organization. For all its shortcomings and missteps around COVID-19, this is why WHO was created. It is essential to coordinating a global response during a pandemic. And the United States should be leading that response as we had in the past. COVID-19 will likely worsen at the outset of flu season this year. So we need to put in place measures now, to ensure the seasonal flu vaccine can be ready, available, and administered safely to those who need it under social distancing guidelines, especially for seniors. Fourthly, we need real plans, real guidelines with uniform nationwide standards to help us chart our economic reopening. Whatever we've been doing now is not working. The state-by-state approach will only produce confusion and slow any progress. You know, you all reported the CDC tried to clear guidelines about what stages of reopening should look like. The administration delayed and scaled back those plans. We need clear evidence-based steps that states can adopt now. Both the standard must be met in order to safely proceed with further openings and the reimposition of social distancing rules when cases begin to rise. You know, this is not rocket science. We need to support schools and child care programs so parents, if and when they can return to work, are confident that their children will be safe and cared for. You know, we should be holding and providing a sticker say safe for shoppers, a certification to stores that prove they're minimizing their customers' risk and exposure. We absolutely need a clear message from the very top of our federal government that everyone needs to wear a mask in public, period. Wear a mask. It's not just about you. It's about your family. It's about your nation. It's about your neighbors. It's about your colleagues. It's about keeping other people safe. It helps you, yes, but it's about keeping other people safe. It's a simple measure. But it's also one of the most effective ways we can do the right thing. It may be inconvenient. It may be uncomfortable. But it's the right thing to do as an American. Protect your coworkers and neighbors. And finally, we need to protect the populations most at risk.
Year by year, breaking records for our clients. Thomas J. Henry, available 24/7, nights and weekends.
You're watching the South Texas News Leader. This is 3 News at 10.
Do you remember when we said we're not like Bear, Dallas, Harris, and Travis? Well, guess what? We are now.
In the late news tonight, from a surge in local COVID-19 cases to a beach curfew and new restrictions now in place, several updates stemming from today's city-county briefing. Plus,
if you were exposed to somebody that was positive with COVID-19, you must quarantine for 14 days. Otherwise, you could still be spreading the virus in our community.
As the virus becomes more widespread, the need to stay vigilant and stay home if you can becomes even greater. And long lines to get a COVID-19 test are being seen and impacting hundreds across Texas. Our deep dive team takes a closer look.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Gazin. We hope you're safe and healthy wherever you happen to be tonight. Leslie?
Hi there, Joe. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leslie Adamy. At the top tonight, Nueces County breaking yet another record when it comes to COVID-19 cases. Health officials with the City County Public Health District issuing new orders to try and prevent and slow the spread of the virus as hospitals across the coastal bend see an increase in patients in the ICU. Those developments and more in tonight's top story.
That's right, 274 positive cases in one day, bringing the total number to 2394, with 8 deaths reported. There are 93 people currently in the hospital and 33 patients are in ICU as the coastal bend runs low on hospital beds at the same time. Right now, the city of Corpus Christi has only 4 ICU beds that are currently available for COVID-19 patients, only 4. And throughout the coastal bend, in other words, all 12 counties that are being counted here, there are only 8 available beds for COVID patients. You can visit our website, KIIITV.com, for a daily update on what's going on. And Corpus Christi and Nueces County leaders responding to the latest numbers by announcing a new set of beach restrictions for the approaching 4th of July weekend. Vehicular traffic will be banned along a 100-mile stretch from Port Aransas all the way to the National Seashore. Our Bill Churchwell has more on that tonight, as well as the highlights of today's health briefing at City Hall.
274 new cases.
That record-setting amount of new coronavirus cases announced during the city-county briefing, painting an alarming picture of the sharp increase, something local hospitals are also feeling.
Our hospitals in Nueces County in the Corpus Christi area are either at or nearing at capacity.
Especially when it comes to the number of ICU beds meant for COVID-19 patients. Currently, there are 105 patients in the hospital. 33 of them are in intensive care.
We have about, 9 ICU beds available. They've been fluctuating throughout the day, but at either rate, we do not like these numbers.
We could have beds, but it really takes staff, nursing staff, to manage the patient, and our nursing staff are short.
A request has been made to the state to help provide additional staffing. Health Director Annette Rodriguez simply asking folks to stay home, as she also addressed a lack of testing supplies.
There is no reason for you to panic or to get anxiety over, I couldn't find a place to get a test.
As the 4th of July holiday quickly approaches, city and county leaders are doing their part to prevent the spread. Nueces County Judge Barbara Canales announcing she is working on an order to restrict vehicles on a 100-mile stretch of beach over the holiday weekend, from Port Aransas all the way down to the Padre Island National Seashore, similar to what we saw during Easter weekend.
I do think that we have learned what happens when we don't protect our community from the tens of thousands of people that love to congregate together on a holiday weekend.
Piers and RV parks will remain open. Canales saying leaders are doing everything they can to prevent another stay-at-home order.
How long this restriction will be in place probably is dependent upon us. And so therefore tomorrow I will amend the mask order to include all commercial entities and all public spaces.
The county judge is expected to sign both orders on Wednesday. Bill Churchwell, 3 News.
Okay, Bill, thank you. And again, Judge Canales says she will actually sign the executive order tomorrow imposing those beach restrictions. The restrictions include an 8 p.m. curfew on the beach, but the big thing is that vehicles will be prohibited on a 100-mile stretch over the 4th of July weekend. Now, this order includes golf carts and all-terrain vehicles as well. It starts at 6 in the morning on July 3rd and continues until 6 in the morning on July 7th, which would be Tuesday. Residents and visitors will be allowed to walk along the beach, but no driving or parking. Piers and RV parks at McGee Beach and Padre Bayou Park will remain open for campers. The city of Corpus Christi will also be closing beaches and a total of 8 city parks during that same time period. And by the way, down in Duval County, they're also seeing a major spike in coronavirus cases. The growth rate over the past 7 days, nearly 600%. Duval County seeing 50 positive cases today alone, and just last week the county tested 341 residents in a single day. Right now Duval County is under mandatory curfews from midnight to 5 a.m. for all residents. Masks, they are required at all businesses and public gatherings there. Public gatherings, that is, are prohibited entirely. Masks have to be worn everywhere. And as the coronavirus continues to spread through the coastal bend, more people get tested for the virus. The materials needed for the testing have been running pretty low. Word from the Department of State Health Services is that they will be sending, as soon as tomorrow, the supplies they have on hand, such as swabs and virus containers. We also spoke today with Hillary Watt, the executive director of the Coastal Bend Regional Advisory Council. They direct health resources to where they're needed most here. And she says right now what we don't have is the professional manpower to open up more ICU bed space for COVID patients.
We have contacted the state, and we've been able to, through contracted agencies that the state contract with, provide appropriate nurses to come and help staff the ICUs. And
she says the nursing shortage is not only being felt here in the Coastal Bend, but also throughout the Rio Grande Valley and the Laredo area as well. And dozens of people who lined up for COVID-19 testing at the Waves Resort on Padre Island this morning actually had to be turned away. This was the scene just after 9 this morning. We're told that some 400 tests would be conducted by the National Guard at that site today. Turns out only about 350 of those tests were completed. Now at 6 o'clock we had the wrong number. We said about 60 tests were completed. Turns out it was a bit more than 350, but then they ran out. They simply ran out of supplies. So again, lots of folks had to be turned away, even after they had waited in line for a while. With the surge of COVID-19 cases, some lines for testing look like the ones that we had early on, where there are sites running at capacity. Appointment times are filling up fast, but you can still get a test. Reporters Anastasia Bolton and Eric Proffer explain what's happening in the state with testing and who can get a test and how.
Let me see. When Giovanna De Leon tried to save a spot in line for a COVID-19 test.
If you are calling to schedule an appointment, please press 1.
De Leon waited an hour, 22 minutes on the state COVID-19 testing phone line, hoping to reserve a spot in Hayes County near Austin, but couldn't.
You just show up tomorrow between 8 and 5.
Am I able to pre-register?
No, ma'am, not with this site.
Same rule for this community care clinic in Austin, where workers say the facility runs out of tests within the first hour of opening.
Rate of increase is increasing very rapidly, and it's going to be hard for us to keep up with testing.
Austin's Public Health Interim Director, Dr. Mark Escott, told City Council members they need to shift their testing strategy. Only test people with symptoms.
We simply do not have the capacity to provide those tests and ensure adequate turnaround times for those who are at the highest risk for being positive. This is every jurisdiction in the state of Texas.
We do have a lot of worried well out there right now that are going and getting into testing lines and lanes that are backing it up for those that might really need a test.
Nim Kidd is the chief of the Texas Division of Emergency Management.
One of the things that we learned is it's very easy for the state of Texas to put a bunch of tests out there. But when our private sector lab partners can't keep up, then we have longer times.
TDEM is responsible for 32 of the 957 test sites across the state. The number of total sites is constantly growing.
That we need to be testing those that are symptomatic or those that have been in contact with somebody that's either been laboratory confirmed positive or is symptomatic.
There are daily limits on how many tests a county, a city, or a site can do.
People have asked, why can't we do more at each site? And we may get to the point where we're doing more at each site. But Anastasia, the most limiting factor in this is the lab capacity. It's the laboratory capacity of where they're going.
Kidd says the state has come a long way from a few dozen test results each day to 52,000 recorded Monday. Harris County has been maxing out on testing every day for several weeks.
So we're continuing to look at ways that we can increase capacity. This is part of a larger effort across the system to try to get testing to as many people in the community as possible.
The state's interactive map will show you the nearest testing site, tell you when it's open, and what's required to get tested. You can also call 211. When do you get results? Depends. on the lab that's doing the testing. It can be anywhere from 2 to 7 days. Officials say part of the answer to the recurring capacity issue is us, what we do and how we behave.
Wear your face covering, try to maintain physical distance. I mean, it does not work, and we cannot flatten this curve. Everyone must do their part.
With Erica Proffer, I'm Anastasia Bolton.
Latest on testing. The Governor Greg Abbott issued a proclamation today announcing that more counties, including Nueces County, will be added to a list of those that are suspending elective surgeries at hospitals. Of course, the announcement comes in response to the concern that there simply will not be enough hospital beds and equipment to take care of the COVID patients. The state defines elective surgeries as those that are not immediately and medically necessary to correct a serious medical condition. Now, we're told that while elective surgeries at hospitals are being suspended, outpatient surgical centers are still open and they are still accepting patients.
Those procedures that are done to diagnose potentially serious issues can and should also go ahead. And that's also important to realize that we don't want to cancel things that may diagnose a problem early on that can be treated with fairly minimal surgery.
And while elective surgeries are being suspended, Governor Abbott did allow for procedures that do not impact the resources needed for COVID-19 patients. You can find a link to the governor's order on our website at KIIITV.com. Elsewhere in the news, on Capitol Hill today, the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, told a Senate panel that he would not be surprised if we saw 100,000 new cases of coronavirus each day in the U.S. Currently, the level is at about 40,000 per day. Here's ABC's Romina Puga.
The New York tri-state area, which worked hard to battle back the coronavirus outbreak, now slapping a 14-day quarantine order to visitors from 16 hotspot states. California is on that list, one of the several states hitting pause or reversing course on reopening.
If you're not going to stay home and you're not going to wear masks in public, we have to enforce, and we will.
Arizona with an increasing number of COVID patients in ICU beds, activating crisis standards at its hospitals. LabCorp says it's experiencing a nationwide test shortage due to the resurgence in Arizona, Texas, and Florida, where numbers have been rising and several major cities have only now made masks mandatory.
Just wear the darn mask.
Some studies say the virus may be spread just by talking, noting people can release as many particles through speech as a cough.
Stay healthy.
The demonstration shows how wearing a facial covering can reduce spread by some estimates up to 50%.
Stay healthy.
Those CDC guidelines recommending simple containment measures have become politicized. President Trump moving ahead with his 4th of July celebration at Mount Rushmore, where no masks or social distancing will be required. Joe Biden blasting the president for it.
We can't continue half wearing masks and half rejecting science. We can't continue half with a plan and half just hoping for the best.
Even Vice President Pence and his allies on Fox News are now urging Americans to wear them.
I think they work. And I said, especially if I wear a mask and it opens up baseball, concerts, NFL football, I'd rather wear the mask.
Joe Biden says if elected, he would place an immediate call to Dr. Anthony Fauci, who this week said he would not be surprised if our cases go up to 100,000 a day if we don't turn things around. In Colorado, Romina Puga, ABC News.
Some local politics tonight. There's word that Nueces County Commissioner Carolyn Vaughn plans to step down from her Precinct 1 seat on the Commissioner's Court so that she can run for mayor of Corpus Christi. She will reportedly make a formal announcement later this week. Vaughn was appointed to the Commissioner's Court back in 2018. The vacancy will allow County Judge Barbara Canales to appoint someone to fill her seat. At this point, there are two other mayoral candidates, the incumbent mayor, Joe McComb, and local resident John Medina. The filing deadline is not till mid-August. The election, of course, in November. Much more straight ahead on 3 News at 10 this Tuesday. The search for a missing female soldier from Fort Hood may have just taken a tragic turn. Coming up, what authorities are saying tonight about some human remains discovered near that military base. And he was one of those guys who could make just about anyone laugh. We're going to tell you about the passing today of comedian Carl Reiner after 7 decades in show business. All of it coming up as 3 News at 10 continues.
breaking records for our clients. Thomas J. Henry, available 24/7, nights and weekends.
Conditions in the coastal bend can be harsh. Mr. Fancy Pants Car Wash can keep your car clean with club wash plans starting at just $15.99 a month. Keep your car sparkly clean and happy. Mr. Fancy Pants Car Wash, the most fun your car will ever have.
Does your job demand high-quality tools and equipment? Scheinberg Tool Company has what you need, and it's in stock. Looking for a specific power tool? Yep, we've got it. Drills, saws, sanders, grinders, we've got them all. How about hand tools? You better believe we have it. We have more brands, sizes, and selection than anyone in town. Scheinberg Tool Company is 32,000 square feet of tool paradise. Competitive pricing, tremendous inventory, better service. Scheinberg Tool Company. If we don't have it, we'll get it.
Conditions in the coastal bend can be harsh. Mr. Fancy Pants Car Wash can keep your car clean with club wash plans starting at just $15.99 a month. Keep your car sparkly clean and happy. Mr. Fancy Pants Car Wash, the most fun your car will ever have.
This year's tropical season could be another active one. Stay informed with the 3 News Weather Team by watching our daily newscasts and visiting our specially designed Hurricane Central section on our website. You can download a compact hurricane guide with loads of information you'll find handy when weather turns severe. So when all eyes are on the storm, keep your eyes on us. Please support our sponsors, Reliant Emergency Room and Generator Supercenter.
The 4th of July weekend sales event at All-Star Mitsubishi is here to break records. New Mitsubishi's priced to go with up to $5,000 off MSRP. The best technology, the best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and free roadside assistance for 5 years. 0 down, 0% for 60 months and no payments until October. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage, $96 a month. 2020 Outlander Sport, just $159 a month. Don't miss the 4th of July sales event at All-Star Mitsubishi.
New developments tonight in the search for missing Fort Hood soldier Vanessa Guillen. Sources close to the search say human remains found in a shallow grave could be hers, but we're still waiting confirmation on that. The 20-year-old was last seen back on April 22nd in a parking lot on Fort Hood grounds. The Army Criminal Investigation Division saying tonight the partial human remains were discovered by the Leon River. But again, there's been no official confirmation on the remains just yet. A story we will certainly continue to follow and bring you the latest on air and online. And according to our Waco sister station, the Guillen family is expecting to hold a news conference tomorrow morning. Also, some sad news out of the world of Hollywood tonight. Carl Reiner, beloved creator of the Dick Van Dyke Show, has passed away.
There she is. There's the little lady who put you out of business.
Reiner's assistant saying he died last night of natural causes in his home in Beverly Hills, California. He was one of show business's best liked men, with tributes pouring tonight from fellow comedians. Steve Martin, who Reiner directed in multiple films, including The Jerk. His son, film director Rob Reiner, calling him my guiding light. He was 98 years old. When we come back, how local breweries are bringing awareness to racial injustice through a new craft beer called Black is Beautiful. Their story when we come back.
This cheeseburger is the best.
It's about to get besta, baby! Menu time! Make it a double! Yeah! Nice main!
Try my $4.99 Southwest Cheddar Cheeseburger Combo and make it a double for $1 more. Order now with no contact delivery.
What do you look for when you're choosing an electric provider? What reasons make you pick one over the other? The biggest sign-up bonus? The lowest rate? With NEC Co-op Energy, we'll give you a few. 1, we have one simple, honest rate. No gimmicks. 2, we don't have contracts, so stay as long as you like. 3, as a co-op, the profits we make go back to you. Yes, you, the customer. So the next time you're choosing your electric provider, opt for co-op.
The summer of savings starts now at Ed Hicks Nissan. Stop by today and you can get 0% financing for 84 months on select new Nissans. Or you can own a 2020 Rogue for just $299 a month, or lease a 2020 Altima for just $249 a month. You can even get $10,000 in total savings on a 2019 Murano. Plus, we're committed to keeping you safe with Hicks Fast Lane. You can shop online and get free home.
Yo.
Hey.
So, I got that bag of chillin'. Oh shit. And I guess I let Fastkill know I got it. And hold on, turn off my stream.